Jason Momoa. Like, you think of some studly dude who can do no wrong, who's 6 feet tall and bulletproof. He happens to be 6'4", whatever. There is no such thing as a higher species. There is no such thing as a higher vibration in the mundane sense. I'm not being spiritual, I'm being human, mundane, dumb, if you will. Those of you who do not dwell in astrology, spirituality, tarot, and all of that, I'm talking to all of y'all. I call y'all, I'm going to use the word ignorant, and you're going to take offense to it. Why? Because you were born after 1994. The actual definition of the word ignorant means uneducated. So, read a fucking book. Read a book. Sexual abuse happens in relationships all the time. How do I know? It happened to me. It's happened to people that share DNA with me it's not my stories to tell, so I don't, and I won't. Just know it's not just in the Hispanic culture. It's not just in the black communities because they're poor and on government assistance. The only reason that people of color consider themselves oppressed is because they oppress themselves. I can say that because while I am not African American and black in my skin tone, every human being descends from Africa. I'm going to say it again. I told y'all in the beginning this was going to be controversial. Every human being, go do Ancestry.com or do the DNA one. I don't give a fuck. Do it. It's been done on the History Channel, Investigation Discovery. It's been done on so many shows that y'all watch. It's been proven to y'all. But you're never going to believe it because, oh, that's editing. Oh, that's somebody else's test. Y'all make excuses for bad behavior. Why is this important? Because that's how you get sexually assaulted and raped in your own relationships. People like my mom, going back to my mom, my dad never beat us as children in a sense that other children get beat, that I actually risked my freedom. I've actually kidnapped a kid here in Kingwood. I didn't see it as kidnapping. The law did. But when they saw what I was kidnapping him from, the attacker, his guardian at the time was his grandmother. She literally beat the shit out of this kid and tried to pull him out of his hair through the crack of a window that he was hiding in the backseat of my car in front of all the cops, in broad daylight. So no. Was it kidnapping? Yes. Was it necessary? Yes. Was it wrong? Yep. Did I care? No. Why? Because that's me. That is humanity. That is compassion. And for a person who has been raped and pillaged and stolen from, lied to, manipulated, brainwashed, groomed, psychologically and mentally destroyed, I got to a point in my life where I didn't have any more crumbs to break. There was literally no part of me that was not fucking broken anymore. And it started in therapy. And it started with this fancy word, go to Me Too. Go learn the actual history of Me Too because it talks about what I'm talking about. Let me close the Me Too movement that's going on right now. The Me Too movement that started 2 years ago is a bunch of Hollywood whores. That's right. Sophia Bush, Alyssa Milano, Hillary Burton, all of these people who I idolized as a teen. Because I watched all the CW shows. I had the 90210, like the real Beverly Hills 90210, not that revamp shit. I had like the school supplies, the buttons. I wore the big buttons on my jeans. You 90s kids know what I'm talking about. I had the school supplies. I was all about that shit. But now that they live in glass houses in their McMansions in the Hollywood Hills and Calabasas, they forgot that one little saying on the way up. When you get to the glass house, don't throw stones. Don't shit where you sleep. Don't eat where you shit. Don't shit where you eat. All of these mundane sayings that y'all make up that make absolutely no fucking sense. I'm going to give you some receipts of things that y'all have said, and I'm going to reciprocate that back to you because I want you to swallow that big fucking pill that is called Me Too 2.0. All of you motherfucking tweaker, millennial Zens and Gs, YZs and millennials, y'all need to swallow the accountability pill so fucking hard. I would love to hear y'all all choke in unison, if I'm being perfectly fucking honest. And people will sit back, including my children that listen to this shit, and they will be like, oh my God, she's so aggressive. She's not nice at all. How is she some kind of counselor? People are drawn to me because I'm real. Because I did not go to school to be a counselor. I don't live my life and counsel people by check boxes and deductive reasoning. And when this Me Too shit started in 2020 again, I had to look it up. I'm an activist. And they're saying so-and-so. Now, there are real victims. The Miss Andersons of the world. The movie Bombshell. That's a real story. That's real life. That happened. But there is a difference between being forced to say something, and even then, in my opinion, and I'm entitled to that because communication, I believe, is still free in the Constitution and all, freedom of speech. In my opinion, even though the Andersons of the world, the female sportscasters, the female news broadcasters, all of those people, I still personally believe that your yeses are yeses and your nos are nos. And I am pausing for dramatic effect because a lot of you are going to turn me off right now. And that's okay. It's okay. I really don't care. You're not going to be able to unhear. What did I say in the beginning? Healing sucks because you can't unsay words. You can't unburn ashes. You can't undo actions. And you can't have surgery to replace scars because you're just putting a scar on top of the other scar. You cannot escape the things that your brain will not allow you to eject. We don't have an eject button. And if you think you have one, it's called suicide. 90% of suicides are non-successful. I know. I've done it a lot. A lot. And yeah, I didn't even flinch when I said that. You know why? Because I was in that state of mind where I figured out through therapy. They say, hey, if you take these antipsychotics, they could cause blah, 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 and you got 7 minutes of side effects. And if you read the fine print on the bottle, and your doctor, if you have a good one, should inform you, do not stop taking antipsychotics cold turkey. You can become suicidal and or homicidal. You can start to hallucinate and all these things. Well, the Me Too movement started making people think that the drugs were fucking with their brains. Oh, I mean, they were true in that matter, but they were saying that they were being drugged and this and that. So while I am not saying that what Bill Cosby did, what Hugh Hefner did, what Harvey Weinstein did, what Jeff Epstein did, those are a part of the Me Too movement. Those are original gangsters who the Me Too movements that started in 2006 have been coming after for years. Why? Because the Me Too movement was started by people who were sexually abused, harassed, and or raped in marriages and in teen relationships and in working relationships. Now, why do I hate on my CW bitches? Because if we go back to Teen Bop magazine or Pop magazine or whatever magazine, Cosmo, that you read back in the day, they were always in relationships with these people that got them to where they are now. Do you think that Alyssa Milano was crying or Shannon Doherty was crying about laying on her back to get where she is right now in the Hollywood Hills? I mean, I watched Charm my whole life, and I didn't see any pain or agony there, and I'm empathic. That's one of my many talents. You don't get to say yes and fuck your way to the top, and then, I gotta wrap up, and then start throwing stones because you feel some type of way about it later. Now, as a victim of sexual assault and rape, my daughter is a product of rape. We were not in a relationship at that time. We hadn't been for a while. I actually went to his home to deliver his stuff back to him that I did not want. I did not know that he had been abusing drugs for many, many years, and probably still does. I don't know. He did later on in life when he did not come back, and I can't say come back. That would imply that he was there in the first place. He was not a part of the picture until Madison was 6 years old. And even then, he really just threw money at her, and really still does. I don't know too much about their relationship because him and I do not have a relationship. I actually do not speak about him. He's Pluto, right? That's the best way to put it. He's Pluto. He got canceled. They tell me he was at the wedding I was at last weekend. I don't know and don't care. I never thought about him. I don't think about him at all. But he is a big part of my story, so I'm writing about him. So, yes, it does. My kids come at me and they're like, oh, well, you talk about Me Too, and we were all about Me Too, Me Too, Me Too, and now you're saying fuck Me Too, and now we're talking about Clay again. I'm like, yo, first of all, I am a person who is reliving my life. That is the key to healing. Must say it again. The key to healing is dealing with your pain. And I'm going to give that credit to the guy, I forgot his name, Tadbolt was his last name. I will pull it up and I will come on here and make the background people put it back in there in the credits. That's not my saying. I come up with a lot of really cool sayings. But you cannot heal until you deal. That shit needs to be on billboards across the country, the world. People ask, how did I get to where I am right now? And why am I always talking about sexual assault and rape? And my kids, number one, all kids that I talk to, not just mine. Why are you always living in the past? Why can't we just move forward? Let me tell you, as somebody in her 40s, they tried to keep moving forward. It is catastrophic. It is a proverbial snowball that is always behind your shoulder, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, until what happens to a snowball when it hits the bottom? We all know. That's how people wind up jumping off of buildings and hanging themselves, shooting themselves, taking full bottles of medications, which doesn't work, by the way, so don't do it. All they're going to do is charcoal you and pump it out. Carbon monoxide. So